I think that this speech is widely considered the best speech of all time, just because of the influence and significance. There's not many speeches you can kind of pinpoint one speech into its effects and how it like changed movement or inspired generations. Like I remember hearing the "I Have a Dream" speech the first time probably when I was like 6, and it was given 40 years before I was born. So I don't know of any other. I don't remember probably any other speech, like by name other than "I Have a Dream" speech, and I'm not a huge speech guy or public speaker experience, and I still know it. I bet like majority of Americans know who MLK is, and then if you ask them a speech, they would name that one. So I think its impact and significance is more than probably any other speech ever. And the quality of the speech also, I think, is what stands out. He's just a great public speaker. I think a lot of that's from his time as a pastor, just because you're speaking for hours in front of a crowd, and you really understand conversational tone, how to deliver a message, and he just had that down perfectly in the speech. Without a hitch, he would just go point to point, make it simple. He was really good. Like with his words, he'd paint a picture. Like some examples of imagery used was like the withering flame of injustice, and like the long night of captivity and lonely island of poverty. Like all of those things just like paint an image in your mind really clearly, and really help make his point, show severity of the situation. Like if you just say poverty, it's like okay, yeah. Then the lonely island of poverty kind of shows how how it affects people, and I just feel like it's a lot more effective in its use of imagery. It's just brilliant, and it was just seamless. It doesn't seem like he's even using it. You don't even notice, and it still does it. It paints the image almost subconsciously. I just thought that was great. And then, what else did you do to make a speech memorable? Definitely use repetition. For me, at least, I'm one person who does not catch things on the first bounce. That's just I gotta do things once or twice, and I can get the hang of it. So anything with repetition really holds my attention better and makes stuff ingrained in my memory better. That's how I study for anything is repetition, the only way I can do it. And he had a great use of repetition in the speech, and it just makes it stick and makes everyone remember. I mean, it's Child I Have a Dream speech by everybody else, and it's not even the name of the speech just because of the repetition. And what I like most of this speech overall was definitely just his ability to paint a picture. That was just great to me. That was something that was just I wish I could do in my speeches. I feel like I do the kind of opposite sometimes, kind of play stuff down in an accent. He was able to just paint this beautiful picture in your mind and just clearly get his points across with using that. And another thing I really liked, I was able to have a perfect pace the whole time while still inflicting emotion. That's something that I do a lot. If I get a perfect pace, I don't put in any emotion. I get robotic. Then if I try to put it in emotion, my pace gets all messed up, and I like talk too fast, too slow. But he'll like point by point in that perfect pace, but then still inflict different amounts of emphasis and emotion on every word, while still maintaining that perfect pace and conversational tone. And that just shows like hundreds of hours of public speaking and just a great mind, obviously, and a great writer too, because he's writing those speeches. Another thing is he had really good notes. I could tell he'd look down occasionally, but he would kind of make it part of his natural head movement. Like he glanced down and then up to the left and then glanced down up to the right. Like it wasn't just like he was reading like this. He made it really fluid and seemed like he didn't even have the notes. Just like he was like looking at, just seemed like he was just naturally moving, looking at the crowd. But if you watch closely, he's looking at notes on occasion. And the only thing that I think he could really improve was he didn't use his hands much, I noticed. Like, compared to, like, especially like Obama, when Obama talks, really uses his hands. I feel like that helps emphasize points sometimes. But, I mean, he's still just a flawless speaker. I don't think he needs that. I honestly don't think that necessarily fits his style of public speaking as well. I mean, maybe it could. I don't really know because I haven't seen many more of his speeches. But at least in this one, I didn't see a bunch of hand movement compared to some of the other speakers. But it's a super small nitpick. I think the speech was almost perfect, if not perfect. Yeah.